Сайн байцгаана уу хүн үзэгчтэй. Өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Нидерландын бизнесийн эксперт ноён Фрэд Боер оролцож байна. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Наран зөтөх хөгө тэнгэрээсээ бэлгийн толлон эхлүүлж ардаад зүүнүүдийн түүхээрэн бахархаж ирсэн гэдэг монголчууд ханад цагаан гэртээ шагайн тойрон наадамтай хасах халуун тулгандаа галын улаан дөл тэвэд монголчууд мөн хөх тэнгэрийн дор мянган хавар монголын сайхан орон жил дэвгэрэ. Сар шинийн хоногтой бэлгийн картууд худалдаанд гарлаа. Мобикомын бүх хэрэглэгч бэлгийн картаар дансаа зэнэлэх, мөн багцын төлбөрөөсөө суудруулах боломжтой. 2-р сарын 29-ний дотор бэлгийн картаар дансаа зэнэлээд ухаалаг гар утсыг 5-100% хүүгэлдтэй аваарай. Сар шиндээ сайхан шинэлээрэй. Мобиком.
Well, you have been several times in Mongolia. Please tell us about what you have been doing and what is the mission of your organizations first.
This is third time in Mongolia since 2006. And I spent my energy to improve business, and especially not one business, but maybe many businesses by accompanying young entrepreneurs and making them making a mainframe for them to build up the good and structural business. I did this before in inside in the country, in Tsetsaleg, and I was invited in October to come to Mongolia to boost Mongolia and to make a connection between corporates and startups.
You have been invited by chamber or?
No, I've been invited by a private company called Megawatt. They have a CFO, and this CFO is very energetic, is very contributive to enlist startups, to help startups. So it's his mission not only to run the company as a CFO of Megawatt, but also to help young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and connect them to corporates. And that's, I think, congratulations for him and the energy for him to do so.
So you have been visiting countryside, cities, and visiting and meeting several businesses, and you have certain observations based on your practices, expertise. You have extended to several European countries your expertise. You are very well qualified, well-known entrepreneurship expert. What are the things that Mongolians, young entrepreneurs, have to pay attention today?
Wow. Thank you for this beautiful question. See, the economic growth of Mongolia is slightly going down from 2013, economic growth 17.4%, and last year 7%, and in between 13%. So it's going down a little bit, and that's a bad sign. So the conditions to interpret, because businesses and enterprises is the best medication to solve economic problems.
Correct. They are not only. They are
almost
basic.
Right.
The very base of the economy.
Absolutely, yes. I agree fully with you. So these Mongol corporates, in former days, they could last for 30 years or 35 years, but the world is developing, and as you see how fast products go, for instance, telephone. What is the change? Telephone and the evolution of telephone. It went very fast. It went within a few years. So companies don't exist anymore for 30 years. They will exist for 15 years. So there's a short lifetime of corporates. Corporates that think that they can exist and stay the same for 30 years, I think it's not possible in next economy. So therefore, you need innovation. You need paying attention to the environment. And of course, corruption is an issue that shouldn't be at the doorstep. In Europe, we have a grey society. We have a silver society. 56% of the population is growing old. So this makes that Europe is not, well, very flexible to build the economy, to make a lot of money. So therefore, these old people, they have to be serviced, taken care of, and they will cost money. While your economy, you have a beautiful, beautiful future if you see the future. And not only if you see the future, but also if you see what the change should be. The change should be faster, very fast. If the world is changing exponentially, the company should change exponentially. And therefore, you need flexibility in organizations. You need change in organizations. And young people, especially your society, as I met some 140 very young entrepreneurs, and wow, they have an energy. They have ideas. And they don't ask for money because they want to really service themselves, but also their country. And that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I see that.
We have to manage.
And you see, now new businesses in Mongolia, we would like to see them, not the domestic market is the major market, but to do the products in such a way that in a few years it goes to international market.
Yes.
Because as one German engineer told me once, that make a small car or big car, the same deal, because you have to pay attention to the same details too.
Right.
So in that sense, do we have any this sort of opportunity or potential to be competitive worldwide, this country?
I think yes. And if I may be frankly, countries like China and Russia are big nations. And actually they're a little bit spoiled. So maybe Mongolia puts its attention to smaller countries, to smaller entities, to clever economies. Not that China is not clever, and not that Russia is not clever, but they don't make the change quick enough, while small countries are quick enough to make the change.
Like what? Like which country?
Well, as you see, in Asia, many countries are booming. They are getting out of their economic situation. They are developing. They disrupt their economy to bring wealth to their country, and that could be a challenge. You still can be Mongolian by heart, but you have to think a little bit different and adapt to their systems. And these young people, they can quite easy because they don't have, well, let's say, any background of regulation, and they are not hindered by the
It's true. Half of the
existing
population,
systems.
half of the population is under 30 years old,
See.
which have no idea with this socialist background.
Yeah.
And which market would be, or which industry would be the most, provided what you have said about the speed, about the IT, about the new challenges, what would be the sectors that, not traditional obviously, sectors that Mongolians could be competitive to your mind?
I think technology is number one.
Technology, okay.
But you have to mention technology in a wide sense. It's not only making agricultural equipment.
Sure.
It's not only making smart telephones, but it's technology in sense of, let's say, glass, for example. If you watch glass and the technological possibilities and the movements in society with glass, I am quite sure that within 3 years, we only use telephones made of glass, where all systems and layers are incorporated in the glass. Nanotechnology, whatever technology, it's all technology. This technology, these young people are very capable to watch internet, to go into the world vertically,
So that means digitally sitting in Mongolia, you work for the world market.
Yes.
With the help of these gadgets.
Absolutely.
But however, what kind of services you think? Obviously, you cannot have an industry in this country. It has no sense.
Yeah.
We don't have people, water, etc. So the particulars. Now, what I'm saying is what I read in the society. Yeah? People saying that the applications, software, or services, which is rediscovered in a new way, bringing your home, saving your time. So, in that sense, you mean also?
Of course, it's other nations, America, Europe, Scandinavia, all these areas work on innovations and technological innovations, and everybody is searching for the way out or the really booming idea or whatever. These ideas keep on coming because we think what we should use in future with our knowledge from the past, but actually we have to dream a few years ahead. The world will look like, in Mongolia, 2020, it will be a movement towards privatization. It will be a movement towards digitalization. These two issues in terms of technology will evolve, will show up. So I would rather address universities to pay attention to what's happening in the world. What can we maybe copy and then make it even better?
See, now let's suppose a Mongolian company are doing exactly what we are talking about. Then what kind of challenges would they face in terms of labor? Still, we need human to work together, maybe in different locations, but still as a team to work for a particular product, one, then sell it, then maintenance, taking off bags in your service or computer. In that sense, what kind of challenges these sort of new modern companies are facing or would be facing in short-term future?
Connections is the key word. And in the connections, I mean, you can make the different connections in market. See, technology and healthcare is quite obvious. But why is healthcare and agriculture not a good connection? And bring in technology. It's very likely to be possible. So it's not only to address agriculture, but find the connections within the different sectors. For instance, you're very good at leather. And leather is not only for, let's say, personal goods like clothing, like shoes, like whatever. Of course, leather is very suitable for that. But if you try to enlist universities to make a research program on what are the possibilities of leather in several markets, in several issues, then leather is your competent product, very competent product. Congratulations, because it's beautiful how you treat leather. And you have privileged in the world with leather. If the research programs, for instance, it's just an example, concentrate on what other possibilities with leather. I happened to meet a company in glass that made this survey in 2009 and made a film on what is their future on glass. And glass is put in cars, is put in the house, is put in the windows, is put in our spectacles, we use glass everywhere. So if the glass is connected to photovoltaic cells, then we can even make energy through our spectacles to run our phones. There the idea is born. When universities concentrate on connections, making these forced connections, these unusual connections between sectors and within sectors between the different products, you will receive many, many new business ideas, and then you will be ahead of market in other developing countries. Maybe China can, maybe Europe can, but these developing countries can't. So you're in charge.
That means universities in Mongolia forget these traditional sectors, look at the connectivity, create labs.
Yes.
That those labs will have in mind this sort of final products that connects which things, products, industries otherwise had no connections before, right?
Right.
In that sense, let's say, we need to boost this idea to get adapted, accepted by these young people, in particular in the high schools, universities. What kind of policy you think you would see, or you would think that we need to change and to adapt to that new conditions?
Thank you, sir, for this very good question. I think it's necessary to operate all together, teamwork, in a triple helix construction. I explain it a little bit, triple helix. Always on top of the triple, you put the driver's seat, you put the corporates, because they have the main interest. They have the capabilities, they have the power, they have the networks, they have the etc. Down in the bottom in one corner, you put the government. The government not making regulations, but reducing regulations, making it possible. Like Korea. Korea said, we go into this sector, and the total economy concentrates on this sector by business, corporates, by government, and by universities. If you put the startups in the middle of the triangle and make the connection, university, government push, and corporates taking the lead, then act fast. Make
so which one
change.
is first would be the driver first out of these three?
Corporates.
Corporates.
Absolutely.
See, so that's why, I mean, as a result what we talk of, I would like to see corporations thinking differently, opportunities given to, even in spite of small economy, to Mongolia to be a part of a large world economy, right?
Right.
The same things with education. It's as soon as you have good idea, then you have a lab to taste.
Yes.
Go market to test as well, right?
Yes.
How we can have this sort of inspiration for everybody? Have you seen success stories? I mean, you are from Holland. I know countries around you very innovative. I visited last year Holland again many times before. It's a very creative people. Newspaper you do in different color, radio different manner, TV, and this innovation. How to get this mindset, change it in Mongolia?
In Europe, Philips, you know,
of course.
Television, electronics, etc. Philips in Eindhoven grew a campus on their premises. A campus where they involve many industries, different industries connecting. On this campus, there is space for university. On this campus, there is space for startups. While startups are very disruptive, on this campus, all ideas are treated, are invented, are boosted by all these parties. As a matter of fact, I'm concerned in a program in one of the provinces of Holland to boost the economy from 3 billion euros to 8.5 billion euros by 2020. How do we do this? We do this by not only few corporates intervening, but all SMEs connect to startups in a flexible entity. So if corporates incorporate or adopt a startup, they will incorporate innovation, they will incorporate disruptive structures. As a manager, you should be an enabler for these people, not a manager, because if you're a manager, you kill them with your ideas, but let them come up with stupid and creative ideas.
You talk about completely new ways of leadership in the current new situation, where the idea is more dominant than the other part.
Right.
So in that case, a role of manager is to grow, to provoke these ideas, grow up it, right? And then that leadership, I mean, how does this profit will be shared? How, I mean, how we will have incentives for young people? You know, at times I see in Mongolia young people start something, then first challenges come, particular financial, then somehow give up, and that's the situation. What do you think? How do you think about that?
A huge privilege of your society is that you are very friendly people. Second is you can bring up a lot of trust. And these two are the motivators for young people for startups. I worked in Mongolia last week for Startup Mongolia. And we had 140 startups in the room, making them enthusiastic. And you just only push one issue forward, and they immediately start producing ideas. They immediately started boosting energy. As an entrepreneur, sitting in this group, you will mention how you will be served by this energy, how you will be serviced with these ideas. And then, of course, don't isolate it, but let them do the thing. And it needs failures. We have to bring up, let's say, a university of failures. Any failure will make you stronger. Three times.
True.
It will be 3 times, you will be 3 times stronger. You will never make the mistake again. People are psychological set that if they have a failure, they want to exclude it. Maybe this failure
is a word in that sense.
Failure is a reward, you're right. In the American society, failure means success. So don't be afraid of failures. In 56 new ideas, that's statistics from Europe, 56 new ideas brought up by young people, one idea is commercially boosting. So imagine, if I were an entrepreneur, I were a corporate, I would immediately make a box and put in all the ideas, and then go to young people and say, hey, what about this? Can you make it? Can you do the combination? I saw many initiatives of young people, students, even students from university, that adopted an idea, but they exchanged the idea into, well, let's say, synergetic combinations and connections.
In that sense, this generation today, this smartphone generation is now coming finally to the stage. That generation, this generation, the way they think is completely different than the generation without internet.
Absolutely.
Now we kind of, if you wish, have a different kind of human being now.
Right.
And that different kind of human being, of course, has own advantage, also disadvantage. They are not as probably as, unfortunately, as maybe sportish or kind of active like our generations. Now these young people coming and it's consuming society, more service-based. Even in Mongolia, small developing country, also becoming more service dominant. And are there kind of people that will be motivated in the same way, or they will be demanding different charger for them?
This week I'm working with the Chamber of Commerce to make a game change. And the management, the CEO, gave their people and me the trust to make the change. And we're going to make the change in summer. So now preparing. I talked to the people at the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, one could say, well, these people sleep all day. As you see, 70% of the people is quite young, and 30% of the people is very experienced and many years occupied at the chamber. So yeah, they are blocking the new development. So what we have to do is to make the change. Don't be afraid for the old ones. that we exclude you. Don't be afraid of not using your expertise. We will. But the young people, they have the mindset of the world, and not only of Mongolia. They have the heart of Mongolia, and they have the mindset of the world. So that's a huge challenge. And as I may say so, we have to act very fast. Between now and 2020, we have to be ready.
Initially you said things go fast, companies go short in terms of lifespan. It may even shorter be. So in that case, the change should be fast.
Right.
Should be creative, innovative. And that's, I think, also in spite of, you said that Europe is getting older, true, physically. But however, these people also have more chance to restart new career.
Yes.
And that new career with the expertise of the other sector career, that person comes usually enrich that particular services in very different ways.
Yeah.
And Europe is becoming a kind of a place where you really find all kind of, otherwise you would not expect, very tiny, thought conditions, design, services. In this sense, what moves that what is the driver of this sort of changes for general population, including senior population in Holland? What do you think?
Senior population?
Well, do you regard demographically senior when? How, after 60, after 50?
55.
55.
I'm a senior.
Okay.
I'm
Me in your two generations as well, so.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So here is a living example. A living example that wants to spend his knowledge and share his knowledge as a coach, as an energizer, as a motivator, but also, let's say, to structure and to avoid failure. But cooperating with young people keeps me very young. And that's the case in Europe. The connections is one of the important words for not only entrepreneurs, but for the entire society.
Connectivity and connections.
Connectivity, absolutely.
Networking.
And odd connectivities. Make stupid connectivities. It will bring new insights. It will bring new energy.
Correct.
Look at the things around us. Television. Is television evolving? Yes, it's evolving very fast. Presentations are growing shorter and shorter. The news is going flash, 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 flash. So we old people, we really have to mention and keep an eye on young people working their computer, listening to music, ordering coffee. They can simultaneously work. We can't.
Multifunction, how they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet somebody is criticizing the multitasking as being not focused on a particular subject.
Right.
So
right.
This is the dilemma in between them.
Yeah.
Last question about you again, sorry. Interesting to, what is important in life in terms of having you energetic? What is your priority in that sense in life?
Trust is one, number one, but real trust. Not only trust from the outer side, but also from the inner side. Enthusiasm is number two. I mean, we can be pessimistic, but what is the challenge in being pessimistic? You have to be realistic. Yes, that's a different word. Honesty. Honesty not only to other people, but also to the systems and to the environment. Let's please keep an eye on our environment. Please make footsteps that make it possible for next generations to enjoy the world.
You do whatever is dependent on you in any given moment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What trust, enthusiasm, and honesty.
Absolutely.
How about health?
Of course, any person has to keep an eye on his health. But we can't we can't predict it. We can't just grab it. You have to live like it. But then again, there are risks that are inevitable. So just live. I have a boat. That's my I have a
Which part of the
yacht
country?
in the south of the Netherlands.
Okay.
I have a beautiful yacht, and that's my hobby. And it's very important for me, not only because of the richness of this vessel, but it's also because this is the place where I make a new mindset, come to peace. And I need this peace to be energetic in next situations.
You are energetic, I see that. And what does move? You do exercise, you run, you bicycle, or
Cycle.
what kind of?
I cycle. I have a how do you call it? I climb. The only mountain we have in Holland is 321 meters high.
Okay.
So I climb
You
it.
go
up
there
and
every
down.
day.
Цаг хугацаа давтагдчихгүй. Харин түүнийг яаж зөв ашигласнаар бидний амжилт бүтээл, аз жаргал биднийг дагдаг. Урлагийн хүний хувьд гэр бүл, уран бүтээлдээ зарцуулах цагаа зөв зохицуулах хэрэгтэй гэдэг. Бидний хэрэглээ улам ухаалаг болсоор байгаа нь та бүхэнд харагдчих байна. Харин энэ бүхэн надад үнэхээр их таалагдчих.
Ухаалаг орон сууц. King Tower Apartment.
Okay, so for health, and you said very interesting thing about this.
Live your life.
To create this live your life energy, trust, enthusiasm, and honesty.
Yes.
Fantastic words. Thank you very much.
I thank you dearly, and I really hope that I can come back to Mongolia and may say, if I go at peace and rest, I did my job, and I serviced the world and Mongolia.
In my way.
Thank you very
Thank you. Нидерландын энэ бизнесийн зөвлөх олон улсын мэргэжилтийн Фрэд Боер гэж хүн оролцлоо. Баярлалаа.